Welcome everyone to another episode of Big Ben MMA podcast. Final bets, the first final bets of 2023. Only just recently started doing this right after the Strickland card. Just finalizing everything. Obviously, for today's episode, a lot of new matchups that weren't available when we were doing the original podcast with Scrap and Evan. So it's ideal, and also had a lot of time to finalize. Very rough card for betting. So obviously the extra time to dig in deep. I'm kind of sick of the card, to be honest. Just digging in so much just to try and find value. Kind of over taping and retaping things over and over again constantly. Try to keep this nice and quick. Apologies for being late and moving it around. I still haven't fully taped one or two fights, but it's just if I didn't do the final bets now, I'm going training later. It just wasn't going to happen. So let's get into it. First fight on the card. I'm actually glad Eubanks is off. Don't have to talk about that. The Jimmy Flick Charles Johnson fight. So I ended up taking a quarter unit on Johnson by KO. I didn't want to, obviously the unders and the under 2.5, they're all a bit juiced. The way Charles Johnson fights is a little bit risky. He might just, the way he kicks and sticks and moves, doesn't always hit on his punches. I know he doesn't have the best power, but it's more so the Flick, loves being knocked out. And not even love being knocked out, he just kind of, he shells up a lot. When Gutierrez knocked him out, he kicked him in the calf and he fell down, covered up, and he was ready to be done. And Johnson's knocked out people in the regionals. He does, he wobbled Horiuchi in LFA that just got recently knocked out. He's landing some punches when he sits on them against Azalgas. So I think his submission defense is very good, which is why I didn't want to lay the juice on the under. I do think if the finish happens, will be most likely on Johnson's side. I think he'll be later. Flick does have some heart in him. He's usually losing until he gets a sub, so a lot of the time he survives the onslaught till rounds 2 and 3 when he gets a submission. I think at that point he's going to be a lot more tired than Johnson, and I think that's when Johnson is going to pick it up and knock him out. So rounds 2-3 KO is paying $4.30. I put 250 to win 800, just under a unit. Less risk, only a quarter, because obviously, Flick can submit him. Crazy things have happened. He can be knocked out in the first round, and Johnson can win a decision, where he's just too cautious of the takedown. So that way I'm not risking too much on the under, which is juiced. There's not much value on it. There could be value if Flick gets around one sub. So, 250 to win 800. Johnson, rounds 2 and 3 KO. Little sprinkle. Next fight, Dan Agueda, Nick, whoever you pronounce this, Aguirre. Nothing I'm really interested in here. I'll probably, if I win the first bet, the Charles Johnson bet, I'll put $100 on Agueda, rounds 2 or 3 KO. The exact same bet. It's paying a lot more. Obviously, hard to know against what Aguirre's durability is like. Obviously, no adversity. He doesn't have the best. He's beaten a lot of cans, and he loves the dice choke. And a lot of time he has the dice, he doesn't really get it. So, he's squeezing a lot against these bumps. I think he's going to have trouble submitting Daniel Agueda. Agueda's fought, Tercios and Jackson, and he hasn't been submitted by them. So, I think Agueda survives, and he's a bit underrated with his ground and pound. He uses his physicality to break people, and I think Nick Aguirre is someone that's unphysical enough to be broken later on, especially on short notice. That's only it'll be $100. He's paying like $7.50. Rounds 2 or 3 KO. Only risk is I think you can get a submission as well. So I haven't played it, but that's what I'm looking to play. Alan Nassimento, Carlos Hernandez. I have Hernandez by decision, just $100, 0.1 units to win over half a unit. It's a pure numbers play. Yes, I do agree that Allen should be the favorite. He's massive. He's fought a high level of competition. He's never been finished. And Hernandez is a little bit underwhelming, and he's fighting close with low-level fighters. Just a numbers play. There's Nascimento, the way he fights, he's lost a lot of split decisions, a lot of decisions if he doesn't get a finish. Took a little stab. And then I saw the go the distance, and, one of those bets no one's talking about, and I thought it should have been minus 200 minimum at worst case, and then I looked into it today, and I'm going to play. I'm going to at least play for half a unit, maybe more. If you look through Nassimento's record, his Nassimento hasn't really submitted anyone good, right? Literally, if he submits Hernandez, that'll be his best submission win, right? He couldn't submit Ricardo Ramos back when Ramos was 17 years old. Will Campuzano couldn't submit him, lost the decision. Bruno Azevedo lost the decision. Yuki Motoya has been submitted in under 2 minutes before by Inoue and by Patchy Mix. Couldn't submit him. 3-round grappling fight. Couldn't submit him. Couldn't submit Paiva. Paiva's a good grappler. Tagia, good grappler. Look at his submission wins, right? Lima 5-2. Ayoshi 3-1. Couldn't submit Tavares. Souza 8-1, 9-4. Ruslan 16-4. Couldn't submit him. 5-3 submitted. Mateos Jimenez 10-3. Round 3 armbar. That's his best submission win. Jimenez is a Chilean dude. He's 14-6 now. He's 35 years old. That's his best win in his career. Hernandez will be his best. So, in a weird way, Nascimento is position over submission. He uses scrambles to get on top. Like he hunts all the top time he had against Hadley. He didn't really have any submissions. Same as Tagia. Like he went for an armbar, but then he would get on top and just stay on top. He would sweep him. So he's an elite scrambler and elite sweeper, I guess. But yeah, I think Hernandez. The only concern with Hernandez, he's only been finished once, and he was submitted by Josh Neal as an amateur in 2016, and that guy is not good at all, right, in round 3. So can't find that fight, and that was 7 years ago. He was 22 years old. That's the only concern. But he's fought good fighters. He's fought Daniel Barez. That guy's got crazy one-punch KO power, and he's got 6 submissions. So he's got 6 KOs, 6 submissions, so it's 50-50. And the only concern, he had his back taken in round 1, got straight back up. So yeah, I like to go the distance here. Maybe you can hedge it with Nascimento sub. I think that's the only risk. But yeah, $100 in Carlos Hernandez by decision, just a purely numbers play. And I've got to go to distance here, $1.66. I'll fish around, maybe add another half unit somewhere better. But yeah, Mateos, Mandoka, Harvey, Bashar, pass fight for me. I was looking into the finish prop. It's a better pick'em. I think it's a pick'em. I've seen Mateos Mandoka hurt. My question is, will he get finished by Javid, who is a death by 1,000 cuts, over the long 3-round period? And I'm 50-50. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I'm not sure on his durability, so I'm just passing. Mateos, Rebecca, Nick Floria. I've got $500 on Rebecca by KO here. It's paying $2.30 on some books. I just thought that was a clever way or a less risky way of playing, the under 1.5. I don't want to play the under 1.5. Rebecca, he's a lot of, other than his first few submissions, he's got 3 heel hooks in a row back in 2014. Other than that, most of his wins are by KO and by ground and pound. He's got a good crucifix. And obviously his last fight by submission was in Contender Series, which is interesting because everything else is just KOs. So the first 3, 1, 2, 3, heel hooks in 2014, and then an armbar, and then another armbar after a decision win. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 5 of his 6 submissions are in the first 7 fights back in 2014 and 16. The rest are just KOs. So there's a little risk he gets a submission here, although the other Fiore is a black belt, Gracie black belt. But yeah, I know I see a lot of people playing down the 1.5, or him by finish, which is minus 200. Some people got minus 200. I know Scrap got minus 200. It's $1.40. I think this is a safe way. I'm just playing half a unit plus money by him by KO. It's only half a unit because, he might get a submission, who knows, and then I lose, which would be the most annoying thing. But yeah, I kind of like this. I like this play. I just think most likely he's going to grind out the submission dude or land an overhand left, because it's a southpaw, and drop him, knock him out, or he's just going to break him down with ground and pound. He's a very good wrestler and just beat him to a pulp. Early or later on. I know my boy Lucas Copera, the Polish dude that me and a subliminal hit on Cage Warriors. It took him till round 3 to finish him with the ground and pound. He was very close in round 2 though. So yeah. Mateos Rebecca by KO, $500 at $2.30. I really like that bet. That's the one bet that I might actually make a 1-unit play. We've got one comment. JC Van Dam. How are you, Van Dam? Thanks for listening, mate. I always liked you more than Chuck Norris. All right. Abdul Razak Al Hassan, Claudio Ribeiro, just past 5, very volatile. I see some people playing the over and whatnot. I guess the value is there. I still feel like he could end at any point. First round, second round. Razak is a popular play. Alien Ribeiro, but it's just nothing I want to play. He came in underweight. I just think he's faster. He can fight on the back foot. I think Razak is gassy, 37 years old. He's hittable. He might walk into something. Ribeiro, man, if you look at his hands at the weigh-ins, massive reach, massive hands. He's built for knocking people out. So, fast fight. Umar Nurmagomedov, Rony Barcelos. I just take this finally. Last minute, the line wasn't going anywhere. Not really a fan of Umar's decision. Very juiced. Haoni, I get why he's such a massive dog. It's probably the losses to Henry, which he still put out a massive volume out there in a loss. He was getting wobbled a bit, but yeah, losses to Timur Valiev, who's another in and out, very fleet-footed Russian, and throws a lot of kicks. He dropped him multiple times in round 2. I don't think he might do that to Umar. He's got power, he's got good wrestling and great control on top. He's got elite takedown defense himself. If he loses, he probably gets grinded out a bit and kick from the outside because he can't corner Umar just like he couldn't corner Valiev, and just due to the output. But that's small margins, Essentially, Umar just has the decision and have a clean decision win over him. And yeah, at first I thought I wasn't going to play anything. I still might not play anything. This could be one of those cards where all my sprinkles lose. $100 in Hernandez decision loses. Rebecca wins by submission instead of KO. And then just all the little sprinkles add up, and then another $100 here on Barcelos. We'll see. But yeah, he's got the power, he's got the jiu-jitsu, he's got the durability, he's got the wrestling, offense and defense. Yeah, I think you have to take. I'm probably going to have a 0.1 dollar stab on Barcelos. $100 to win $800, man. Like, the odds are crazy. Kevin Vieira, Raquel Pennington. I want nothing to do with this. Soriano versus Roman Kapilov. I retake this again. Originally on the podcast, I thought I would like Kapilov. The longer this fight goes, Kapilov is got good distance management. And then I was thinking I'm probably going to like Soriano because one of the things over the 12 months review I did for 2022 is I get trapped in a lot of playing the dog shot or playing the guy that's going to look value if it goes over or it goes to decision, and you can potentially live bet him like Kapilov, and I pass on the favorite that has the finishing upside, and then I'm waiting for the live bet opportunity, and then the favorite wins, and he looks value still at like $1.50 or $1.60, and then that's what I was thinking to myself. Maybe I shouldn't focus so much on Kapilov, surviving and looking value when potentially I should just hammer Soriano. Who he's going to start out strong. He closes the distance. He throws a lot of looping hooks and loads up, but he always has one straight left down the pipe that hit Todorovic and hit Dalcha with. So it could be he could be the shot that hits Kapilov as well. But then after tape again, I've just gone back to my original thought. I taped so many fights with Kapilov. I've never really seen him hit properly. Robertson hit him nice and hard later on in round 3 when he lost the point and he realized he needed to throw. Hit him with a straight left down the pipe, and Kapilov didn't even flinch. He just kept throwing, looking for the finish, and then he got taken down and instantly subbed. I think he has very bad. He's very serviceable takedown defense. I mean, Durai was struggling to take him down, even when he was absolutely gassed in round 3. Durai was struggling to take him down round 1 and 2. Didn't really take any takedowns in round 1. Round 2, he was also defending everything until he grabbed the cage and Jason Herzog gave him the wrong position, and he allowed him to lock his hands behind his butt and he slammed him. And then when he was on top, he was destroying him. So I think on the bottom, and we're seeing it with Robertson, he's so bad on the bottom, but he does have good takedown defense. So it just begs the question, who's better wrestler, Duraev or Soriano? I definitely know Duraev is more aggressive on top and more of a lethal finisher. Soriano couldn't really do anything against Jamie Pickett. I wouldn't mind Soriano a tiny submission sprinkle. Robertson submitted him, and Duraev actually had his hand around his neck in rounds 2, right before the round finished, got saved by the bell. So that's a little sprinkle if you want to give it a crack. But yeah, I still ended up with nothing. Oh, I do actually have a play. I have Puna no scorecards. $1,000 to win 500. It's minus 200. not the greatest. I do think he's very durable. I think there's still a slight risk that Kopylov might finish him in round 3. I think after taping all his fights, I realized that his power is a little bit underrated. He just needs to throw, and he knocks out a lot of these guys in round 3, kind of just like the Chirico when he actually throws. He warms up into the fight, always starts slow. There's a little bit of that risk. If Soriano is as gassed as he was against Allen, I think Allen might potentially hit harder than Kopylov, and he was throwing a lot harder. It was a lot more volume from him, which is why he 30-27 Soriano. But I lean to this fight going over. Like I said, Kopylov stays very safe. He runs away. He doesn't look to engage in a brawl. We've seen something similar with Jamie Pickett when he was running away from Soriano. He made it. He's also durable and he runs away. He doesn't want to engage and he's very scared of fighting. Worst fighter to bet on. So I think something similar might happen here, depending on how Soriano fights. He might be aggressive. He might come in slow, like against Dalche. You just don't know. So I feel like on this no scorecards, I'll get my money back. Most likely goes to a decision. But all the finishing sides on Soriano, especially early. So I just hit it anyway. And I'll hit it anyway, and that way I'm not exposed to Soriano or juice odds. And if fight goes into rounds 2 and 3, I don't have to live bet Kopylov to make my money back. If he goes to decision, I'll get my money back anyway on the money line. So, and then I can just play Kopylov. If he goes to decision, whatever I win on Kopylov, I win. So yeah, I've got 1,000 on Puna, no scorecards. And yeah, after tape, it's just the longer this fight goes, the longer tape is Kopylov. But yeah, it's a tough one. I'm stuck between Soriano's going to do more early, and even when he's tired, because he pushes through the fatigue stage, and also Kopylov taking over later. So yeah, tough fight to get a read on. Giza, what's going on, mate? I hope you're keeping cool, mate. I'm trying to, mate. I forgot to turn the aircon on, but it is what it is. I'll just smash this out. Alrighty. Co-main Dan Ige. I've taped this twice, and I still think this is going to be a close fight. I know all the finishing upside is on Ige. A lot of people I respect are on Ige. I definitely think he's going to wobble Jackson at some point. Everyone does, Even Dan Aguero wobbled Jackson. Every time I've bet Jackson, and I've been betting on him a lot in the UFC and cashing, I've always been scared of him getting knocked out. So now he's fighting actually someone that hits hard in Ige, and that could be a real possibility here. It's just if Ige doesn't knock him out, if he just wobbles him and stuns him and drops him, Ige's live to get clinched and fall off the back or end up on the ground turtling up. So it's just one of those fights that I don't want to be pulling my hair out if Ige loses a 29-28. But I also think he can win a 29-28. I think whenever it's on the feet, Jackson's defense is a bit average. He's very aggressive. He throws, but that opens himself to be countered, and he can't. His chin's not made for a war. Even back in LFA, Aguilar knocked him out with one punch in round 3. It was clean. So the guy's always been chinny. So yeah, at the moment, I have another Ige no scorecards, and I think I'm just going to cash out my Ige money line. I got pick 'em odds. That's the thing. A lot of people are on Ige. The line's not moving. So how many of them are sharp plays? I see a lot of Twitters on Ige. A lot of Twitters on Jackson too, but just the line's not moving whatsoever. I don't think many people are too confident, other than one guy I really respect. He's kind of played out Ige by KO as well, mixed with the money line. So yeah, I've got Ige no scorecards. If he knocks out Jackson, I get my money. If he doesn't, if he goes to a decision and Ige wins, then whatever, I don't win anything, so be it. But I can live bet it. If I think it's going to be a close fight, live bet might be available. So hopefully there's back and forth, a lot of back and forth in the fight, and there'll be some good line to take advantage of. And if Jackson slows down again. Other than that, I might actually play this under 2.5. It's $2.50. I think I know Ige's very durable, and a lot of people are saying there's no way Jackson finishes him, but it's possible, man. Ige, all these guys have never been finished before. It happens at some point, and Jackson's always been underrated. He's got one punch KO power. He's knocked out people on the regional scene. A lot of submissions, submitted people that have never been submitted, like Bektic before. A lot of finishes, a bunch of KOs. A lot of the people that he submitted is actually hurt, wobbled first. Ige's giving his back up to Korean Zombie. He gives his back up to a lot of people. It's possible. He's been dropped by a lot of people, and he's been hurt by Qatar. He's been hurt by Barbosa. It could be a cut stoppage. So I think I might just play $1,000 on Ige no scorecards and $500 on Jack on the under 2.5, which if Jackson gets a finish, I'll hedge my Ige's no scorecards, get my money back. And then if Jackson wins a decision, I just lose the half a unit, the 500. If Ige wins a decision, I also just lose the half a unit. But yeah, I'm just playing the number here. I know it's kind of like the Sabatini fight. It was a similar number. Everyone's like, oh no, Sabatini's doesn't have the power to finish Jackson, and Sabatini's never been KO'd, and it happened in under a minute. So yeah, so you get no scorecards and the under 2.5 for 2 finishes. It's quite a big number. And Sean Strickland, Nasruddin Imavov. This is the fight that I was just retaping now. Haven't fully done it. I think this line is a bit out there. It's a bit crazy. Just think to yourself, when would Nasruddin Imavov ever be lined as a favorite over Strickland, right? If these guys were, booked to fight normally in a main event at middleweight, no short notice. All right, Strickland, a proven commodity, fought Cannonier to a 5-round fight, didn't get wobbled, didn't get dropped once, took bombs from him. Fought Alex Pereira, ate a clean Alex Pereira left hook, didn't get knocked out. Just ask yourself that question, right? And Nasruddin Imavov hasn't fought one ranked guy. The only ranked guy he's fought and beat in the UFC was Adman Shabazian, who was ranked at the time, and now he's not ranked anymore. So he's not rank worthy, right? So Jordan Williams, Phil Hawes, Ian Heinisch, Shabazian, Buckley. None of these guys are going to be ranked, right? It's just maybe Shabazian comes back again. Who knows? This is a massive step up. I think the only reason Strickland is dog is the short notice. I see some people saying they're surprised that Imavov is 10 pounds lighter. I don't know why you are. Imavov is a career welterweight, right? In his last fight against Munir before UFC, he was a welterweight. All right, welterweight, the one before that, welterweight, the one before that, middleweight, the one before that, welterweight, the one before that, welterweight, right? I actually thought he only took the middleweight fight against Jordan Williams because it was short notice. He was going to move up, and the guy never moved up. And now he actually seems a bit filled into his frame. But you see, when he doesn't cut weight, he's only 10 pounds over the limit. Last time Sean Strickland came in on a short notice fight, a catchweight against Brandon Allen at 195, he knocked out Brandon Allen. He looked fine. He was, Brandon Allen was pressuring him like crazy, and he looked fine. He could see everything coming. He was countering him, and he knocked him out. Right, that's the last knockout he's had. When he actually comes in prepared and he tries to fight a technical fight, he's nowhere near as dangerous. Obviously, Brandon Allen pressured him a lot too. I don't think Imavov is going to pressure him. He's just going to look to stay on the outside, do his bouncing and that karate thing. So yeah, if this line gets any crazy, I'm going to take Strickland. At the moment, I'm just scared, the short notice. But yeah, just ask yourself, what would the line be if this fight was not short notice and it was prearranged, just to be a middleweight and main event? You would think Strickland should be at least $1.65, $1.70 favorite, right? Imavov, I don't care about the cardio, whatever. Let's just say he has good cardio. He's been preparing for a 5-round fight. He's not going to be able to just ground Strickland and wrestle him, right? Hermanson couldn't do it. Strickland's got to take down over Cannonier and Brandon Allen and stayed on him for a bit, had their back in round 1, right? This is just completely different. Jared Cannonier has all the power. He's athletic. There's a danger there. Imavov doesn't hit as hard, nowhere near as hard. He's not physical, not athletic. He's not subbing Strickland. He's not going to be able to push him around the cage with a 10-pound disadvantage. So I'll leave Strickland here. I'm just going to wait because everyone thinks Imavov seems to be the popular pick. So yeah, they haven't played it yet. I'm leaning the over, but it's a bit juiced. I think all these fights that have gone over for Strickland, one of these is bound to finish. So yeah, pass fight for me now. But if the line keeps going, out of principle, I have to play Strickland. Maybe only half a unit and then half a unit bet on live. All right, my laptop's about to die. I got 5%. Let's quickly go over everything. So I have Johnson, rounds 2 and 3 KO, quarter unit to almost win a unit. I think that's the most likely outcome. And less risk, you don't want to play the under. Aguero, I might do the same with him, rounds 2 3 KO. We'll see how we go. I got $100 on Hernandez decision, purely number-based, and go to distance. Nassimento doesn't really sub anyone good. This would be his best submission win. Javid pass. Rebecca KO, $2.20. Really like that play. Might add more. Pass on the Ribeiro. Pass on Uma. At the moment, I'll probably end up with $100 on Barcelos because I'm going to be really salty if I didn't take advantage of that. Caitlin Vieira pass. Soriano, $1,000 on his no scorecards. We'll look to live bet that fight. Then Ige, $1,000 on his no scorecards, and I'm going to add a half a unit on the other 2.5, just in case. And pass on the Strickland will pass for me. Yeah, I think he's only underdog because of the short notice. I think he's always sparring. Yeah, but it's still a bit of a weird fight. So yeah, that's it. Good luck to everyone. The only other player I have is Fuller at Pick'em on LFA going on right now. By the way, if you watch the LFA podcast, you would see that I gave out this Mongolian dude that won in the first round by KO. So tune in, guys. I know my shit. I watch a lot of tape. So I've also put $100 on this guy fighting McKee as well at $8. Hopefully he gets a KO too. So good luck, everyone. Laptop's about to die. And I'll see you next week for the pay-per-view. Thanks for listening.